All right, we got here a 2022 Toyota Corolla. Customer complaint is the gas gauge is not working. So they picked, it was at a body shop, it was an accident in the back somewhere. So they picked it up from the body shop, and the customer drove to Philly, which is about an hour and 15 minutes away. And then there she stalled. So they got it towed back here, and they said pretty much the tank soul said full, and they asked her did she ever fill up, and she said no. So they realized it's out of gas, they added gas, and the car started right up, but it still says full. Let's just do a scan. The reason why I'm using the scan tool is because this has, like my launch, has the ROB data that I can push one button and it will pull the ROB data out from the whole vehicle, which top down really has to get that feature. I wonder if the later model top downs have it. I don't know. My Elite doesn't have it as of now. All right, I'm gonna do a health report. All right, we got 8 codes in the meter. BCM has codes. All right, so we got codes. Lost communication with lateral acceleration sensor module. Lost comm with instrument panel cluster. ABS, we have yaw rate sensor circuit voltage out of range. Brake system control module A circuit voltage low. Lost count body control module. Lost count with imaging processing module. Wow. These are confirmed. So confirmed doesn't mean current necessarily. Brake control module. Lost communication multi-axis acceleration sensor module. And the meter, lost count with ECM, PCM. All right, every module has codes. I'm gonna make a report of this. 50,000 miles. I'm gonna make a report, save this, then I'm gonna clear all the codes and start from scratch, see what comes back. All right, key on, engine off, clear DTCs, yes. All right, so the only comm we have right now is a lost comm with instrument panel cluster, and it's a permanent code. It just means I can't clear it, but there's no codes in the computer right now. So let's start the car. Engine lights off. Now, I think the fuel gauge is got to be empty now. They just had a jerry can. It's not like I don't think they took it to the gas station. So we still say 391 miles to empty. Let's go to the cluster. Okay. Read data stream. Let's see, anything with fuel in it? Let's just search fuel. All right, the input is telling us the gallons. Okay, let's go back here. And now I remember, in the PCM, in the engine computer, there's usually a code that says fuel level sensor. I mean, there's usually a data pin that says fuel level sensor. So we'll go check that out. Yeah, fuel remaining value does 93% full. All right, let me get a diagram, see how the system's set up. They told me it was hit on this side over here, which you can see that wheel was replaced. But it's funny because looking over here, it also looks like it was bumped. But maybe the whole thing came in, so it just, you know, damaged both sides. I don't know. Alright, so diagrams. Here, panel gauge. So instrument cluster, sedan except hybrid. Alright, so here's the combination meter assembly right here. We got ignition. Where's the fuel level float? Here, fuel sender gauge is right here. It's a 3-wire sensor. It's a regular Hall effect, it looks like. there's FE, FR, and FE and B. So I don't know what any of these things mean, but looking at the diagram, it's not really helping me much. Alright, but they all go to the combination meter assembly. So I guess this assembly is pretty easy to get to. So all I have to do is get to the wires on the tank. Alright, I'm just unplugging this module, this fuel pump right here. And I want to watch what happens to the gauge. If it goes down to 0 or not. And it's still stuck at high. Oh no, it just went down to empty. And it says fuel low. I'm gonna leave the key on, I'm gonna plug it in. It gotta just be in the float, right? Yep, it went back to full. So let me just check the voltage on these wires. Well, I'm gonna try this tool from VDIAGTOOL that they sent me. It's pretty much like a power probe, but it also has a wire tracer, which never works for me, to be honest. I mean, I never tried this one. I have the power probe one. So this also has a scope built in. Oh, I'm gonna try it out on this because it'll be easier just to test the voltages. I'm not loading them because it doesn't have to be loaded. All right. All right, you got to turn on. Oh, there's a switch. So mode 1 is for like everything besides the circuit testing. I think that's mode 2, so you have to connect that differently. All right, let's get a probe on here. Oh, it even comes with a piercing probe. We'll actually use that right now, if I could figure out how to fit it in. Does it use an adapter or one of these things? It uses one of these. No. All right, one of these. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. So now this thing has probe mode, which I think is just reads voltage. And then it has resistor mode, multimeter mode, which will give you like all, you know, you could do ohms and check your diodes, hertz and amps. I don't know what the rating for the amps is. What else we got? We got, this is really cool. We got 0 to 5 volt output. So you have a built-in, you can just change it. It has a built-in voltage, you know, you can give voltage 5 volts if you want. It has an oscilloscope. This is a relay tester, injector tester, and this is the basic power probe, the component tester. So if it has moment, latch, or pulse. That's how you can set it. So you could make it latch, and then you push up, and now it's just giving voltage to the tip of this the whole time, which is sometimes really good. The power probe doesn't really have that, unless on my snap-on multi-probe, which is made by Power Probe, that does have it. And I think the hook also has it. All right, you can set it to moment, 0 to 5 volts. And here's an oscilloscope. That's very cool. I don't know what, a vertical oscilloscope. You could change the division per second. Let's go check this out. So you also don't need a ground for this. I just want to see how it looks. Get over here. Okay. This is a really interesting piercing probe. You lift the needle up. Oh, you gotta get it over there. Piercing was a little difficult to use. I'm gonna get my own piercing probe. I'm not familiar with this one. Have one in my pocket? I usually have one in my pocket. Nope. The weather has been so up and down lately that my cluster's getting worse. I had to unplug the bulb. But I don't know. I think it's time to get a new cluster or take it apart and resolder it. Alright, I got a piercing probe here. Okay, connector's unplugged. So on the, let's see, on the gray, I have a pulse signal from 0 to 5 volts, it looks like. Let's see, on the white, I got nothing. And on the red, I got nothing. Now let me plug it in and see if anything comes onto the red. Yep. Okay, so it's reading on the red. The red's what's saying it's full. Alright, so when it's plugged in, the red has a signal. Now what I gotta do is I gotta make sure that the red has a signal at the cluster also, the same signal as this. And make sure there's no open or, you know, something shorted to power. But then why would it only work when this is plugged in? I don't know. I really just think this thing's bad. Alright, now we can use this tool also, besides the scope. Now here's where it comes in handy. I mean, you don't need it. You can use my long power probe extension, would also work fine. But pretty much, I got a test right now. See, this red wire is going to the red wire in the car, right? This is the signal wire. So I got to make sure there's nothing open or shorted in the signal wire. So all I'm going to do is take this, plug it into my probe, push component, and go to latch. Now I'm going to go to power. So now if this touches the ground, it's going to light up, which it does. That's the white wire. Now this is the signal wire. See, it's at 93.75. I'm going to go like this. Now it's not lighting up. Now if you look, it went up to 94.9 because I'm giving power. So now all I'm going to do is change this to ground, and now look, it's at 5%. See that? So it means circuit integrity to the computer, to the cluster, is fine. It right now knows that there's 5% fuel in the tank. Now let's see if this actually changes, or if this is another issue. I don't know. Nope, it just changed to fuel low because it's 5%. But it's plugged in, so we'll still start without fuel. So that's it. This thing has something wrong with the fuel pump. Probably the float's bad. I'm not getting involved in that. That's their job. But I don't think it has anything to do with the accident, unless the accident shook the tank and messed it up. But wiring was all good. And this tool is actually pretty cool. Now, I don't know, there is a circuit breaker in it. I tested it last night in my house with a power supply, and it did seem like it was shutting off no problem. I had a different company, a different cheaper one. I don't remember what it was called. And that one, when you would give power, it would shut off once you short circuited it. But when I had an amp clamp around it, while it was short circuited, it was pulling 10 amps constantly. Just the screen was blank. So that was very scary. This one was not pulling any current, so at least it has some sort of circuit breaker. The working voltage is 9 to 30 volts in mode 1 and mode 2. Mode 2 is that that thing that you could trace wires with, which I'm not gonna even try right now because I've had such bad luck with the power probe ones, and I don't know, I just think of different ways to do it. Now, yeah, one day if I have broken wire, I'll definitely test it out. All right, thanks for watching. Well, I'm here a few days later. I'm looking at a different car, and they told me the whole fuel pump, they pulled it out. It came out in pieces. Everything was broken apart. So, yeah, I guess we were right. It just needed I mean, technically it was just a float issue, but this whole thing fell apart, so we're just getting the whole assembly. I don't know how this goes back together, but that's what we're doing. All right, thanks for watching.